Well, it is certainly a cold enough day out here, but doggone. Look at how pretty it is out. I mean, not a single cloud in the sky, nice and bright. So I had to take a ride. There was just no way around that. But it's not going to be real long. It's not going to be real fast. So stick around. Let's see what we get into. Well, hello again, Internet. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Southern e-biking extras. And we're out on the fat tire bike today, taking a little ride. And it's just going to be a short lunchtime ride. Just was too pretty. I had to get out here on it. And I thought, well, I'll go ahead and throw the camera on and take you guys along with me and see what's on my mind. And, you know, just before I come out here, I found out that the United States has just won a world trophy down in Argentina. And they won that in the ISDE. Well, what is that? And what does it have to do with e-bikes? Well, that's why this is in the extras. It's a little bit to do because it is on two wheels and it does have a motor. So, but this, the ISDE used to be known as the ISDT. That's the International 6-Day Enduro. And that's something that was very, something that I aspired to one day ride until I met that Mrs. Southern e-biking some 40 years ago. And you know what? It's cold enough. We're going up this way. We are going this way today. No, I never rode it, and no, I don't regret that I got involved with Mrs. Southern e-biking. But it was something that I aspired to, but I knew I needed a few more years experience before I could. But what it is the International 6-Day Enduro. And this has been going on, I think first year was 1913. And, oh, I forgot to check and see if our crane is out here in the swamp looking for the baby turtles. I think it's too cold for the baby turtles, but you know what? I am seeing an awful lot of ripples in here where things have jumped off of the logs and stumps. But I think 1913 was the first year that it ever was held. And that was in England, and it's been held almost every year since then. Of course, the COVID years, everything in the world canceled, and there was a couple of wartime years that it didn't go on. I believe the first time it was held in the United States was in the 1970s, and the first time that an American ever won the overall individual, I do know it was Ryan Sipes in 2000, maybe 16, the late 2000 teens. It took that long. But the main focus of it is on teams. And it was, I guess, 2016, I believe it was, that I stepped into a sheet store while we were traveling, and I seen the cover of a dirt bike magazine that said the United States won the ISDE, and so I had to grab that up. And that's when it kind of brought back all the memories, and I've been kind of following it since then, armchair following it. But I thought I'd give you guys a little history on it. And I guess, first off, let me say there's basically three teams. There's the World Trophy team, and that's 4 riders. Now it's 4 riders. It used to be, I believe it was 6 riders, and top 4 counted, if I'm not mistaken. And then they've got what's called the Junior World Trophy team. Used to be called the Silver Vase. And then they've got the women's, and I forget when the women's team actually started. I think that's 3 people on that team. And the first time that the United States won any of these competitions was The Silver Vase team, I think it was still called the ISDT. I'm sure it was, because it was when I was involved in racing. And that would have been in the mid 70s, maybe 73. But I still remember who won that. And it was 4 guys by the name of Dick Burleson, Ed Schmidt, Ronnie Bond, and Malcolm Smith. And Dick Burleson, he was kind of, as far as I was concerned at that time, he was kind of my idol. He was a long time, he was a motocross champion, and then he went into off-road, and he's in the Hall of Fame of off-road. I think he won 9 national enduro championships in a row, and just about everything there was. He was considered one of the all-time greatest. And then there was Ed Schmidt, who was a very famous rider at the time. Ronnie Bond actually owned Bond Cycles in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's where I purchased my first Husqvarna motorcycle, and he gave me a little sponsorship, and he owned that shop. And then there was Malcolm Smith, and if you have ever had anything to do with off-road motorcycles, you had to have heard of the name of Malcolm Smith. He probably first became famous on the movie On Any Sunday. He was in that, and that probably brought him quite a little bit of fame right there. What? No. There is nobody, and I mean nobody. You know what? We're going to stay in the sunshine, so we're going to go down this way today. Which way do we want to follow this, though? We'll follow it on this side. No, nobody out there can tell me they have not seen the movie On Any Sunday. And if you haven't, man, go see it. Check it out on YouTube. But anyway, he developed Malcolm Smith Racing products, and I believe there is still a Malcolm Smith Racing store that I think he owns in California, Power Sports or something like that. But anyway, they were the first ones. They were the junior team, won that. But I think they won a couple more times in the early 2000s, but it was 2000 and, like I said, 16 that the United States won the World Trophy. And, well, I guess in between that time in the early 80s, I will say LoJack Cycle, Eddie LoJack, was a top American. He was the highest finishing American a couple of years in that, and the reason that I was so interested in it is because LoJack Cycles was my later sponsor on Husqvarnas after the Bond Cycles. And so, you know, I had quite a bit of interest in that. But like I say, no, I have not rode it, but I aspired to, but myself and everybody else knew I needed a few more years of experience before I was qualified to ride for that. But anyway, let's get back up. I think it was 2016, and I know it was a fellow by the name of Taylor Roberts. He rides out on the West Coast, mostly desert racing. A guy by the name of Caleb Russell. He is more the type of racing that I did here on the East Coast. Matter of fact, probably one of the winningest riders at this time. Eddie LoJack was at one point, but I think this guy may have surpassed him. Who else was on there? I'm not sure who else was on that team. Ryan Sipes was another East Coast racer, and he actually won the overall individual in mid-2000 teens. I think it actually was the 2016 edition. And then what else has happened in that? Well, the women won, I think, a year or so later. But hey, how did we do in 2023? Well, the United States won by approximately 14 or 15 minutes. So that was a pretty commanding lead. The junior team come in second. They were actually in third place until the last day, and they pulled into second place on the last day because the winning team, the one that was in commanding lead, had a lot of problems. And so they took over to second place from third. The women's team, well, who was it that was in there? It was Brandy Richards or Richardson, Corey Steed, I think it was, and Rachel Gutrich, something like that, won the women's. And I mean, all you gals out there, go into racing, because they had a commanding lead. I think by the last day, it was over 5 hours. I know going into the last day, they had a 4-hour lead. I'm thinking, my gosh, they could almost wrap it up, pack up, and go home and skip the whole last day and still win. Boy, I tell you what, look at this pond, how pretty this is. You know, the sun shining down on it. I wonder what I'm seeing out here. I see something poked up out of that water. Let's see if it disappears when I come over here. Almost looks like it could be a big old water snake, but we'll see if it disappears. It's probably just a stick. It is. Either a stick or a gator, and we don't have too many gators this far north. Yeah, it's a stick. That's a really nice pond. You know, I remember when this was all swamp, and they cleared this out and made it look like, I'll take you across. You guys have all seen where I look for that heron over there all the time. That's the other side of this pond. And here's this side here. And this is what the whole thing used to be like at one time. But he came in here and really did a great job on it. But anyway, the gals, I mean, they blew them away. They took a commanding lead. On the trophy team, I think this is the third time, maybe the fourth time that the United States has won it. And the riders for the World Trophy, that's like the top team, the most competitive team, was Taylor Robert, who else? A guy by the name of Dante Oliveira, Cole Martinez, and Johnny Guerrera. And they were all pretty much racers from the West Coast. And Argentina, it was almost like a desert race, so that would make sense that that's who the United States picked to represent them down there in Argentina. But yeah, they won it. But what I thought was really cool is the fellow by the name of Taylor Robert. He was kind of heading up the team. He announced right before this one, this is his last year racing professional, but he has been on the team that has won every single time the United States has won. He's been a part of that World Trophy team. And I believe he won the overall individual 1 year. So that's a pretty good career statistics right there to be retiring on. That's the time to retire, not when you start losing. You keep your name alive that way. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up here and I'm going to head back down the road and back towards the shop because I've got to get back to work. But you guys let me know if you've ever heard of that before, the ISDE. You know, just look around you right here though. There was no way I was going to miss on a day like today to get out here and take me a little ride. So I threw the battery on the old fat tire here and shot out there. Yeah, like I say, I brought you guys along. We're probably going to throw this into the extras because this is not really e-bike related. And it's just one that I didn't even know I was going to do. I just kind of thought of it last moment when I said, I'm going to take me a quick ride on the fat tire bike and come up and noticed that on my iPad. And I said, you know what? I want to go ahead and take you guys along with me and let you know what happened there. So I think we're going to wrap it up on that right there. Hey, till the next one, this is Southern E-Biking telling you, stay safe, God bless, and keep the wheels rolling. And hey, try to keep warm as well. Once again, we're out.